All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, fresh off of suffering an Achilles injury in the 2019 NBA Finals, Kevin Durant decided to leave the Golden State Warriors to join the Brooklyn Nets. Now, KD walked away from a championship contender as he was seeking to replicate the success that he had in the Bay Area. Now, in Brooklyn, Durant would be teaming up with Kyrie Irving as well as James Harden for a brief period of time before he was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers in a package that included Ben Simmons. Now, in all, KD would spend part of 3 seasons, four, if you want to include the 2019-2020 campaign where he sat out the entire year as he was recovering from an Achilles injury with the Nets. But during that time in Brooklyn, he would only be able to help the Nets get to the second round once. Now, after the Nets management decided to trade Irving prior to last year's trade deadline, KD wanted out of town as well, which resulted in him being sent to the Phoenix Suns. Now, in Phoenix, Durant would join Devin Booker, okay, as the Suns would win their first round series over the Clippers last year, but then they were sent home in 6 games in the second round last year, courtesy of the eventual NBA champion Denver Nuggets. But after that playoff exit, there were wholesale changes in Phoenix. We saw them get rid of DeAndre Ayton. We saw them send Chris Paul to the Washington Wizards in that deal that brought back Brad Beal. And then, of course, they fired head coach Monty Williams and replaced him with Frank Vogel. But you look at it. So now you've got another big three for KD as himself, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal all playing together this season as they were hopeful that this perimeter oriented team would lead them to the franchise's first NBA championship. But instead, at the end of the day, it's just the same old song for KD as well as the Phoenix Suns. Now, just like it was in Brooklyn with the Nets, KD and company have been unable to stay healthy because we saw that, hinder the Nets' chances when it was him, Harden, and Kyrie. They very rarely played together. And it's once again the case this past season as Brad Beal missed a lot of time, Booker missed some time, and KD did miss several games, but he was the healthiest out of all three. But nonetheless, this Phoenix team had to fight, scrap, and claw in order to avoid the play-in tournament as they got the sixth seed in the West. And of course, they were helped by the injuries coming down the stretch to the Sacramento Kings. But after 3 games in this series in the playoffs with the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Suns find themselves on the brink of elimination. Plain and simple, the Timberwolves have just dominated them. Now, in this series, Phoenix has lost each game so far by double digits as they are on the verge of having themselves an early summer. You look at it so far in this series, the Timberwolves have simply owned the second half, and the Suns have not had an answer for Anthony Edwards. Then on top of that, Minnesota has dominated on the boards with Carl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. And we're talking about the Timberwolves being one of the better defensive teams throughout the regular season. And that has translated to success for them and a hindrance for the Suns so far in this series. And you look at KD, he left Golden State looking to replicate what he had there as far as a championship success. But at the end, he's only rolled snake eyes so far since leaving the Bay Area. And honestly, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. KD might spend the rest of his natural life seeking the respect that he feels that he deserves as a basketball player. There's been plenty of people out there, okay, who looked at him sideways when he left the Oklahoma City Thunder to join the Warriors. Of course, we remember that year. OKC had Golden State down 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals before Golden State roared back to win the last three and then get to the NBA Finals. And then from there, what did KD do? He left OKC to join the Warriors. And of course, the next 2 years saw Durant, get to the win the NBA championship with the Warriors. He got there all 3 years, and of course, 2019 was an injury plagued finals for the Warriors, but nonetheless, he got those two championships, the two finals MVPs. But in a lot of people's eyes, okay, KD was just there. It wasn't his team. It never was going to be his team. It was always going to be a Steph Curry team. And it's one of those where KD went to Brooklyn looking to see if he could replicate that and win a championship, quote unquote, on his own. And he didn't come close to doing it there. They had the star power, and he's trying it again in Phoenix. And so far, he's failed. And I got news for you. I don't see it happening there. You look at this team, they are very perimeter oriented in the Suns. And you've got three guys, especially in the case of Brad Beal and Devin Booker, who need the basketball in their hands in order to be effective. This team does not have a point guard. They do have a solid big in Yusuf Nurkic, but at the end of the day, what the Suns are trying to bring to the table in order to win a championship is not working, and it's not going to work. Okay, winning championships are not easy. Okay, and neither are putting those title teams together. And it's one of those where, we've seen guys try to bounce around and win championships. Easier said than done. LeBron had that success when he went to Miami, of course, Cleveland, and then when he went to the Lakers. But it's something that it just has not worked out for Kevin Durant since his time with the Golden State Warriors. And unfortunately, it looks like it's going to continue to be the same old song. At this point, I think the Suns are cooked. There's no other way to say it. Minnesota has dominated the second half in each of these games so far. Anthony Edwards is the real deal, and Phoenix does not have an answer for him. We saw the Suns get booed off of their home court last night, and you just have to wonder if this team has packed it in. And the way that they're playing, especially in the second half, I'm going to say that they have. You look at this Suns team, is clearly is going to be back to the drawing board. New owner Matt Ishbia, is hard served and hard pressed to try to go out there and get a championship. He's got the star power. He's got the people that are going to quote unquote put meat in the seat, so to speak. But at the end of the day, they are still bringing up the rear as far as trying to get a championship. I'm going to talk about it, in the coming days about the changing of the guard in the NBA as far as the old to the young. And this is one of those series right here between the Suns and Timberwolves where we're seeing that happen. So game four is right around the bend for Phoenix. And I got a feeling that might be the last time that you see the Suns play in this during this NBA season. A lot of expectations for the Phoenix Suns coming into this year. And of course, anything close shorter than a championship would be a disappointment for them. But I think a first round exit for them is probably going to be extremely surprising. But at the end of the day, this is who they are. They're trying to do it as a perimeter team. They can't get it done. They won't get it done. And that is a big reason why the Suns are on the verge of a long summer. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now, you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I'm signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.